This is amazing. Oh, here we go. All right, guys. Well, I'm just going to do this real quick. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So maybe you'll find this later in a bit. I am trying to get this thing running, but it doesn't want to work. I just had to update my OBS. My computer updated last night, so that might be the issue. Um, Weather's great here right now. I don't know why the internet would be in poor service. And my Ethernet cable is plugged in. So I guess, yeah. You're here, Shelly. I see that. I appreciate you coming over. But if my system keeps doing this, I'm just not going to be able to stream, right? I mean, when I tried to stream here, I'm looking at the preview. It came up as a black screen for me. I was like, is my camera working? So I don't know what to say other than I guess that's it for the day. It sucks. It's unfortunate. Um, I'll come back tomorrow. I'll see if I can work out the kinks in this, but I just don't know. I mean, this thing's giving me an error message right now. It says my stream quality is poor. Oh, you're not the only one. It says I have 3 concurrent viewers. Now it says it's excellent. Okay. Well, I'll try to read a little bit more, guys. Um, but I do need to get done early today, and I knew it was going to be a short one, so it's not like this stuff's going anywhere. And I haven't been able to read that well today, anyways. So, maybe a little sleep will do me good for tomorrow. Be nice and refreshed. But yeah, let's see if I can get. By the way, I'm no longer streaming on Entropy or D Live as well. I didn't start that up. So, and I think maybe one of the issues is because I am doing that through OBS, and it's a little bit much. I know there's a way to run the other streams through my graphics card, and I might have to set that up. But you're talking to somebody who is not a tech guy, and I'm intelligent enough to be able to figure it out, but it's just not what I do, guys. I'm a hands-on guy. I can teach you how to survive in the woods and how to fight, and I can expound on philosophical musings, but the tech stuff it's just not my forte. So here we left this off, and I'll probably retitle the stream later, by the way, folks, as part 2. This is just what came up. The whole thing's really weird. But I can hear my system not running as fast, so maybe the stream will work now. Maybe that update to OBS worked out. So the Naked Communist I spoke of before to you all, and a very, very important document in my opinion. And we read a little bit of it the other day, and now we're back to it. And I finished with Karl Marx. This is going to talk about Frederick Engels. And we'll see where it goes from there. Because, again, I just can't stay on that long today, guys. So, in many ways, Engels was the very opposite of Karl Marx. He was tall, slender, vivacious, and good-natured. He enjoyed athletics, liked people, and was by nature an optimist. And this is why he was able to be friends with Marx. If you don't recall, Marx didn't have any friends. Everybody hated him, but Engels. So, so it sounds like Engels was a really nice guy, and he was probably coming from a different mindset than Marx. He was born in Bremen, Germany, November 28th, 1820. The son of a textile manufacturer who owned large factories both in Bremen and in Manchester, England. From his earliest youth, Engels chafed under the iron discipline of his father, and he learned to despise the textile factories and all they represent. This is why, By the way, folks, the scriptures say don't be too harsh with your children, because if you are, you will turn them away. Now, I love my parents. They're pretty good parents, but they were overly strict to some degree, and I think that made me want to be rebellious when I was young, right? And I know that younger folks tend to want to rebel. But if you are overly strict, this is a problem. Of course, there's a thing with too much leniency. Yeah, Dollhawk, we're back as long as my system will run all this. I don't know. I'm not streaming over on D Live right now or on Entropy. But everything sounds and looks good right now. I don't know what the problem was. I do know there was an OBS update that I didn't do yesterday. And I just did it before I came back on, but then the stream was acting weird again. So I'm only going to be back for, I don't know, probably to just read this section, and you're just going to have to wait for me to come back tomorrow. Because I got stuff to do tonight. So it says, from his earliest youth, Engels chafed under the iron discipline of his father, and he learned to despise the textile factories and all they represented. As he matured, it was natural that he should have lined himself up with an industrial proletariat. For the son of a bourgeois businessman, young Engels had a surprisingly limited education. At least it did not include any extensive university training. But what he lacked in formal training, he supplied through hard work and native talent. He spent considerable time in England and learned both English and French with such faculty that he succeeded in selling articles to liberal magazines of both ages. This brought to mind something, actually, guys. Just on the line, I'm always talking about scripture, relating things back to it. There's a passage in the Bible that talks about the great falling away, the coming great deception. There are several passages that allude to this. I'm reading this, and it's saying Engels had a lack of education, meaning he probably didn't have a classical education. But at this time period in the 1820s, that same classic education was actually being largely thrown out because of the Enlightenment. And men decided they were smarter than all the men that came before them previously. And in this, the great falling away is a spiritual thing, but that is sort of what happened in the Enlightenment, post-Enlightenment. I mean, even today, modern scholars don't tend to go back further than the Enlightenment. It's like history just started there. For most people, history just started with FDR, at least in the United States. But look, again, this is a greater principle of things. A lot of people pointed out this. Now, I think that the Enlightenment was a good thing in many, many ways, but only via certain authors and ideas. The ones that were really picked up are the ones that have caused all of the problems that we have today. And that is the lack of faith, the falling away from God, the destruction and murdering of him, really. And as Nietzsche say, God is dead. So it's just something to consider, something that just spurred to mind here. That the classical education, like obviously Etienne, who wrote the Politics of Obedience, he's referring to ancient Greek and Roman history. And again, history you guys probably know nothing about, or just like that much about. I'm no expert myself, granted, but I am a big fan of the antiquities and a classical education. And I think from a classical education, you understand these things. You have a better understanding of them because you get to understand human nature. I think the first time I found out about the depths of, say, European history, I was a senior in high school because I was taking an AP European history course. Hey, Holly. This probably won't be long. I'm just trying to fill in. So far, everything is working much better. But you can go back and rewatch anything you might have missed. Yeah, no worries. I'm not going to be here forever. I got stuff to do. So yeah, the idea of the process of the Enlightenment drew men towards ideas like evolution and that God doesn't exist and everything we've ever known is actually a lie, and the church is evil, which, I mean, fair enough, parts of the church were quite evil. Um, but it doesn't mean that Christianity is evil. We have to distinguish things. We have to understand them. That those two things can be separated. That a political entity, which the church largely was, at least the Catholic Church, as a political entity, it became evil. If it was just a spiritual entity, I don't know. But this, again, is the same problem with the Pharisees and the Sadducees in the New Testament that Jesus confronted. And Paul, as well as, because he was one of them, as well as Peter in the book of Acts. So, in any case, it makes me wonder, like I say all the time, if we educated our kids better, instead of like the world just existed and came into existence within the last 100 years, or since the Enlightenment, the last 300-400 years, what sense are they going to have about liberty and tyranny? And I mean, exactly, Shelley. All organizations are made of man and can be corrupt. Exactly. Right. So, I don't know, just the thought. Biographers have emphasized that while the hearty and attractive Engels differed in personality traits from the brooding, suspicious Marx, nevertheless, the two of them followed an identical course of intellectual development. Engels, like Marx, quarreled bitterly with his father, took to reading Strauss's Life of Jesus, fell in with the same radical left-wing Hegelians who had attracted Marx, became an agnostic and cynic, lost confidence in the free enterprise economy of the Industrial Revolution, and decided the only real hope for the world was communism. He decided the only real hope for the world was slavery, folks. I'm just going to interpret that properly. He decided that slavery was the only hope. Engels had been an admirer of Marx long before he had a chance to meet him. It was in August 1844 that he traveled to Paris for the specific purpose of visiting Marx. The magnetic attraction between the two men was instantaneous. After 10 days, both men felt it was their destiny to work together. I've had this, man. I've made like very good friends very quickly. You just click with some guy, and you guys are bromies all of a sudden. It happens all the time. You can see someone's thinking in a way that you do. You can see their intelligence, whatever it is. There's something about them that draws you together, and that's exactly what happened here. It was during this same 10 days that Marx converted Engels from a utopian communist to an outright revolutionist. Excuse me. He convinced Engels that there was no real hope for humanity in the idealism of Robert Owen or Saint Simeon, but that conditions called for a militant revolution to overthrow existing society. Engels agreed and proceeded back to Germany. And to this point, you have to understand, communism was an idea before Marx, folks. Communism existed before Marx. Marx was just the guy who wrote up some sort of treatise that, all the slavers worship now. He wasn't that intelligent, in my opinion, but supposedly he was some super genius. More than anything, though, he was, as I read to you last week, earlier in The Naked Communist, he was a slob. He was a very immoral man. He had a deep hatred for God. All these things, of course, are they're fodder for the left. They love it. They love it. And I don't understand this worshiping of wickedness. And maybe I do. I mean, I was a sexual deviant for a portion of my life, so maybe I do. But I never was blatant about that, and I always had some lingering vestige of faith. I mean, I honestly think I'm where I'm at today because of my prayers that God would kick me in the butt, and He sure did. Um, so not to get super personal about it, but I don't think I ever tell you guys about this. But I had a girl who was like one of my regular girlfriends, and had been for like a year and a half. And I had some issues with her, didn't really trust her, but you know, I was a deviant. So, and she tried to convince me that she was having my child, and she wasn't. She didn't. She had someone else's child. But that really woke me up and got me motivated. And after that, I had made some changes. And then I had a girlfriend that was a one I was faithful to and everything. And I thought this was the best I was going to get, but she was really histrionic. And, I had a few flings after that and basically fell to my knees and repented, went celibate, went no fap, did all that stuff. And God saved me. And I have the lovely wife that I have today. And I mean that in every way, shape, or form. My wife is goofy in a lot of ways. She makes me laugh. But it's not just her physical outward beauty, but she's just a lovely human being. And everyone who meets her gets that from her immediately. So, like I said, I think I was starting to use yesterday in the comments that she was saying that she doesn't believe in some of these things, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm only talking about me and what I think of these things and whatever else, and trying to convey some messages to you. But I've just seen things. Things have happened to me in my life. I don't know how they could have occurred otherwise. I'm definitely not strong enough of a person to make those changes. So, in any case, let's get back to the text here. 6 months later, Marx was expelled from France along with the other revolutionary spirits and took up residence in Brussels, Belgium. Here, Marx and Engels wrote the Holy Family, a book designed to rally around them those communists who were willing to completely disavow any connection with the so-called peaceful reforms of philanthropy, utopianism, and Christian morality. The red flag of revolution was up, and Marx and Engels considered themselves the Royal Color Guard. The strange relationship which rapidly developed between Marx and Engels can be understood only when it is realized that Engels considered it a privilege to be associated with such a genius as Marx. Among other things, he counted it as an honor to be allowed to assume responsibility for Marx's financial support. That's really interesting. So Engels worshipped Marx. Shortly after Marx was expelled from France, Engels sent him all the ready cash in his possession and promised him more. Please take it as a matter of course that it will be the greatest pleasure in the world to place at your disposal the fee I hope shortly to receive for my English literary venture. I can get along without any money just now, for my governor, father, will have to keep me in funds. We cannot allow the dogs to enjoy having involved you in here it is again. Brain not working today. Whatever, embarrassments by their infamous behavior. We'll just skip the word, or we can hang out there forever. This is on Kindle, so I'm not able to talk. Engels was simping for Ethot Marx. There you go. Yeah. This new partnership between Marx and Engels gave them both the courage to immediately launch an international communist league based on the need for a violent revolution. They planned to use the workers in Germany and France as the backbone for their new political machine, but this proved bitterly disappointing. After spending several months among the French workers, Engels cascanated them because they prefer the most prestigious daydreaming, peaceful plans, and inaugurating universal happiness. He told Marx that the tinder for a revolution in France was non-existence. Yeah, uh, that's pretty dumb because the French like revolution. Now, in this late 1800s, maybe they went through enough of it, but sure. Having thus failed in their plan to build, excuse me, plan to build their own revolutionary organization, Marx and Engels decided to take over one that was already in existence. In August 1847, they succeeded in gaining control of the Workers' Educational Society in Brussels. This immediately gave them prestige among reform organizations in Europe. It also gave them the first opportunity to extend their influence in England. At this point, Marx and Engels would have been surprised to know that England, rather than the continent, would become the headquarters for their revolutionary work. And here we have the Communist Manifesto. All right, guys, well, that is just going to be left there for the day. I do want to get back to reading Seraphim Rose's, what is it, book on nihilism. Can you hear me when I'm not talking into the mic? I want to get back to this. I've talked about it. I probably want to get through these documents first. And yeah, very important, very good from what I read, the storytime segment I was doing. I can do that live since I have a little bit of an intro there. Shouldn't be any real problem to do all of that. But yes, in all this, I think about it because a lot of what he pinpoints here is, again, a lot of other people are pinpointing today. There is an enlightenment issue, right? The Enlightenment happened. And as that happened, we fell away from God. And with that, we started calling, hedonism liberalism, and they're not the same thing. Being a libertine is not the same thing as being a liberal, at least in the classical sense. Now, modern liberals are libertine, but maybe not all of them. What we're really facing are the progressives that are trying to progress society away from constitutional style rights and into their communist style utopia. As Sargon calls them, slavers, which they are. They actually are. So I'd like to get back to that. I just for consistency's sake, I would want to do it as a storytime segment and a standalone, so I can keep that in the same thing. But maybe we'll get into that. Maybe I'll start doing different things on different days of the week, so we can kind of break things up. Obviously, yesterday I did a different kind of stream. And it went a lot better than, I literally had to throw that together like 10 minutes before I went live. Not that I didn't have plans for it. I actually had some of the stuff set up, but I set things up last minute. I set all of this up today, knowing what I was going to talk about a half an hour ahead of time, and then my stream crapped out on me. So there you go. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys being here, coming over after the failure of the last stream. I sincerely apologize. I know, what are you going to do about it, Bill? Nothing. I can't do anything. But still, I apologize for being underslept and highly dyslexic today. But I know you guys love me and expect it. So, again, I appreciate y'all being here. It keeps me going. And I will probably rename the stream later. If you're going to look for it, it's just going to be part 2 of what I was trying to do. So they're at least conjoined in some way. So, does anybody have any parting shots before I get out of here? That is always the question. And I'm going to give you that, that time for the delay. Shelly gives me a smiley face. Okay. All right. Well, if that is the case, if there's no parting shots real quick here, I will just get out of here. And appreciate you guys. Hit Alt F4 next time. What's that, Thane? I don't know what Alt F4 is. I don't even have F keys on my computer, so I don't even know how that works, honestly. Like, this is how computer tarded I am. No F keys, so I don't know how it works. How do I get to that alternatively? So, in any case, guys, once again, I appreciate you guys watching. It is very encouraging. Just do it. Yes, sir. It's very encouraging for me when you show up because I'm going to do this either way. So, once again, guys, this has been All Minus One. My name is Bill, and I wish you all well.